If you run Amazon ads to your books, don't go anywhere. In this video, I'm going to try my very best to save you money on your ads. So Q1 has come and gone. That's the first 3 months of the year, January to March. And because of that, you'll have a wealth of data for your ads so far across the year. However, if you're watching this in January or November, whenever it may be, don't worry. These techniques that we're about to go through to optimize your ads can be applied at any time of the year. So the first thing that you need to do is actually go over to your Amazon ads dashboard. Surprise, surprise. So I'm going to select my year-to-date data so far, which is about the past 3.5 months or so. For this, I'm on my Amazon US dashboard. That's where I run the majority of my ads. But you can also do it across the multi-country view, or you could do each country one by one as well. So the first thing to do is just decide how you want to rank your ads. So I like to do it by spend because, where I'm spending the most money, I want those to be performing the best. It makes sense, right? So I rank by spend, and then all you need to do is come onto columns and make sure you've got the right columns enabled. So the ones that I like to make sure I've got on here are the impressions, the top of search impression share, the clicks, the spend, the cost per click, orders, sales, and advertising cost of sales. If you don't know what ACOS is, I'll link a video in the corner now for you to check out. That's incredibly important to allow you to figure out what's profitable and what's not profitable on your Amazon ads dashboard. But once you've got those things enabled, you can scroll down and review the data from the past few months. When you're naming an ad as well, I like to put KW for keyword, prod for products, and auto for auto ads. One of the great benefits of doing that is you can just search by campaign like I've done here. That way you can easily review your keyword ads and your product ads separately. But for now, we're just going to review them all at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to be looking at over this data is the click to order ratio. Generally, I like to see at least one order in every 10 clicks. If I'm getting less than that, I will say there's maybe something not quite right with the book, or it's in a too popular area. Whatever reason why it might not be converting quite as well, it's definitely worth looking at it and seeing if I can improve that book or adjusting the ads. This first one has 600 clicks and 122 orders. That's converting really well. The next one, again, converting well. And then this is the first one here that's not getting that great a conversion rate. So if I click on that ad and then go to targeting, we can see individually which keywords might not be converting quite as well. So one thing to note about this ad is it was only launched a little while ago, so it's still on a new book, and that might be why it's not converting quite as well just yet. There's no reviews to this book, and I'm going quite broad with the search terms. But just looking here, this one here has had no orders from 9 clicks, so I can turn that bid down. These ones below it all have a good conversion rate, and then this one at the top doesn't quite have a great conversion rate, so I can turn that one down as well. Next, the top of search impression share shows me whether I'm bidding enough for my ads. So generally, if you're not quite bidding enough, or you're trying to get low bids, the top of search impression share is going to be below 5%. If that's the case, that means I could be increasing the bids to get more impressions. Whereas if it was 80, 90% or so, I know that I could bring my bids down and get cheaper cost per clicks. If we go back to the columns and add the click-through rate in there, that'll also show me what people are thinking of the front cover. The better the click-through rate, generally the better your front cover is and the more in demand your book may be within that niche. So if we order by click-through rate, this to me shows me that these books here might have the best front cover, or they might be the most interesting to the audience that I'm serving these ads to. So if I create some more of these books, especially the ones that are converting well, there may be an audience out there that's going to really appreciate these types of books. And then generally, the lower the ACOS, the better. So if we scroll down and look at some of these ACOS that are getting at least some sales, this one here has got an ACOS of 8.41% and it's got 22 orders from 115 clicks. So that's a great example of a very profitable ad. The conversion rate is better than 1 in 10 clicks. The cost per click there is very low, which means that the ACOS as well is under 10%, which is absolutely incredible. I try to aim for an ACOS of below 30% where possible, unless I'm launching a brand new book, in which case the ACOS isn't quite as important for the first month or two. So now I'm just going to go through and update some of my ads. Hopefully this will help you know when to adjust your bids as well when you're reviewing your data. So this one down here has less than 5% top of search impression share, but it's got an ACOS of 16%, which is nice and low. So if I wanted to get more orders on that ad, I can increase the bid a little bit because I can afford a little bit of wiggle room with that ACOS. So if I click through on that ad, I can afford to increase that close match there by a couple of cents. One thing to note though is the conversion rate for this is very poor. It's pretty much one order in every 21 to 22 clicks, which isn't great at all, but that's why the cost per click needs to be a bit lower on this ad. So I don't want to go too high with that bid, but I can afford to up it just a little bit to see if I can get a few more impressions. Then on this ad as well, the compliments here are serving well, so I can up that. And the loose match at the bottom actually has 4 clicks and 2 orders. So let's try putting that back up to 10 cents and seeing if that can generate any more impressions, clicks and orders as well. So all you want to be doing is going through, looking at things like your ACOS, your top of search impression share, and seeing what might need tweaking. So generally anything with a higher ACOS, you tend to need to tweak those. So this one here, for example, I've got 33 clicks and 2 orders at an ACOS of 121%. So that's far too high. And if I click on that one and go into this auto ad, we can have a look at the targeting. So I've already reduced the cost per click on this ad. And so the ACOS overall was 121%. But then if we look over the last 30 days, the ACOS is now down to 20%. And that's the power of tweaking these ads as a book goes on in its lifespan. The aim generally is to launch a little bit more aggressively, not worry too much about that ACOS within the first month or two. And then for me, after those first couple of months of the launch, you want to be bringing the cost down on your ads and running them at a profitable ACOS. So that's what I've done here. So for the last 3 clicks, I've got 1 order. It's not really getting a ton of clicks, but at least it's profitable for me. So now you know when to adjust your ads. You can also take a ton of information from this data that will help you to create better books in the future. The easiest way to do that is just look at your ads that are performing really well. The ones that are getting good clicks, good conversion rates and good ACOS, and then make similar books to those. A great idea with this is, say you've got a book that's converting and selling really well on your ads, is why not turn it into a series? Let's say it's a word search book about gardening. Make it into a series of 5 books around gardening, around landscapes, whatever they may be in a similar genre, so you can put those in a series, advertise them all together, and then there's every chance that those 5 books are going to perform really well for you. Another thing you can do is look at the ads with the highest click-through rates and use those covers as inspirations for your next book. You may find that you've done something different with those book covers. Maybe you're using a certain colour, maybe the titles pop out in a certain way, but those can help inspire you to get better click-through rates in the future. And then finally, what you can do is look at the poorest performing in terms of click-through rates. So if we click on the click-through rates here, so this one has a click-through rate of 0.58%, which is quite low. And so if we click on that ad and look at the targeting, we can see if maybe we're targeting some of the wrong keywords with this ad. So this keyword here has 10 clicks, no orders, at a very, very poor click-through rate. So the best thing to do for that would just be to turn it off. It's not converting well and people aren't clicking on the book cover for that search term. So it's probably not the right search term for that book. Whereas if we scroll down and look at one of the better performing click-through rates, this one here, for example, we have 5 clicks, 1 order at a click-through rate of 6.25%. So we can afford to up the bid on that one because people are quite interested in that search term. Obviously, you need to keep in mind the ACOS and those kind of things, but that's another way to tweak your ads as well. Just looking at the click-through rate, looking at the ACOS, and looking at that top of search impression share. So that's how I review my Amazon ad performance and also how well my books are performing too. If you do this on a regular basis, perhaps set aside some time every quarter, it can really help you to drive more sales at a much better ACOS, especially in the build up to the Q4 period. And that's when you want your ads performing really well because there tends to be a lot of additional sales over the November and December months. Now, I hope this video was useful, but if you have any additional questions about Amazon ads, make sure to drop them down in the comments and I'll do my very best to respond. That's it for this one. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.